When last we left our heroes, following the disastrous battle of the Skybridge Oak, the mad Amros the Wayward Elf led the party to certain doom and destruction at the hands of the Nazgul and the Werewolf of Mirkwood. Amros and Munin both fell in the battle. Other members of the party, wounded and weary, were rescued by Radagast the Brown at the last possible moment, but the Lamp of Balthi was lost. We will now skip forward to the following evening when the bodies of the fallen have been Asfrid. Sorry, not Asfrid. Asfrid is not dead. The bodies of the fallen, Tinuel and Amras and that one guy from Dale. Moonin.
Poured myself into that character.
You did. It was so beautiful.
Most
Have
honorable might be the wrong word. No, honorable of the group.
yeah.
No offense, Amras.
None taken.
Yeah, they have
Thank you for carrying my body back.
they have been laid out on funeral pyres, and Munin to be consumed on the pyre in the manner of his people, and the two elves to be laid in the ground. As they've been laid out, there are not very many of the woodmen in attendance. This is back near Woodland Hall, although officially outside the main stockade of the settlement. There are not many woodmen here simply because of the ramifications of recent events. But in attendance are the four remaining members of the party, as well as Kaewin the Generous and his retinue, and Dairon and the other elves who had come with the embassy from Thranduil's court. With Dairon are also Uldir and Duvaniel, the elves. Two of the elves involved in the theft of the lamp, who they're not in shackles or anything, but you get the sort of the distinct impression that they won't be going anywhere anytime soon. And as the bodies of your two companions, as well as Tinuel the elf, have been laid out on the bier, is there anything any of you would like to say, or sing, or do in memory of your fallen companions?
Yes, I have commissioned some songs.
You have commissioned some songs. Unfortunately, you will not get the full effect of commissioning songs because you messaged me about this 4 hours ago in the middle of work. Yep. So typically the rules are you can commission a song for a fallen comrade, and if you give me enough, advance warning, I can write something proper. But one of the skalds, actually not the official skald, but he's more like a wannabe skald. He was really what Illyri could afford or was actually willing to come out and do this.
Illyri can afford a nice scald.
Yeah,
but
the other guy.
This one on purpose.
Yeah, well, the main guy is. If I look at my notes here.
Out of town.
No, he's not out of town. He just really doesn't like Amros. The main skald of Woodland Hall is a guy named Friedeno, and Friedeno is not at all interested. So you're able to get Erhard, who's this young, aspiring, kind of wet behind the ears. His voice really hasn't finished changing. But you're able to commission him to compose a couple of songs in sort of hasty memory of your fallen friends. And so Erhard stands up and he plucks his harp, and one string at the very back just kind of goes, and he begins to sing a song about Moonin. And the details you gave Erhard about Moonin were, I mean, you didn't know Moonin super well. So there's sort of, so there's this guy named Moonin, and he had a spear, and I think some family, and it's all a little, like it's a fairly it's a fairly straightforward song, mostly talking about Moonin and his spear and how he died fighting a wraith, and that's the song. Like, it's kind of, his voice cracks a little as he finishes, and he says, and now I will I will sing in honor of Amras the elf. and he looks, and he kind of squints at Illyri, and he kind of leans over and he says, you're sure about this?
Oh, I'm sure about this. Go on now.
Oh, all right. I mean, sort of bad luck, but okay. All right. And he begins to sing a song of Amras the elf, and how brave Amras was fighting mushrooms, and how noble and how noble Amras was conducting stick puppet shows by the fire, and how valorous Amras was as Illyri pulled arrow after arrow from his body. And the closing stanza goes like this. Amras the Red was an elf. Believe me, I heard it myself. He could spot any phonies, like half-dwarves or ponies, but he never outed himself.
Wonderful.
In the chat, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
Nice.
Would anybody else like to say anything?
I think Narvi has prepared something for his wingman buddy. So I'm imagining that after that wonderful song, the everyone's either laughing or has fallen quiet. So Narvi's going to.
Yeah, there's like mostly people aren't really sure whether they should applaud or not. Partly because it just wasn't very good, but partly also because, like, speaking ill of the dead is sort of bad luck. And
I was gonna say, if Duvanio is here right now, Duvanio is looking at Illyri like.
Yeah,
Like, what did you
Duvanio is here.
Okay,
She
yeah,
and Older
Duvanio
both.
is basically thinks Illyri is trash.
Okay, well then, she's getting a daring look from Leary. Yeah, bring it.
All right. So Narvi is going to open up in a very deep, very rich dwarven voice, which I do not have, so I will just read it. Sing as follows. Through the green of Mirkwood walked a figure clad in red. As the forest darkened evermore, good cheer still he spread. Her laughter came as his sword grew more red than his cloak. Goblins fell with every swing of the warrior from elven folk. I am Amras, he declared, I have come to right what's wrong. The elven folk will not lay silent as long as I can sing my song. I have come to find adventure, an adventure I have found. Uh, Let me drink my wine as orcs' bodies hit the ground. There is no spider that I fear, though wolves and beasts should run, for Amras and his sword will fell each and every one. The warrior was not all he was, for each soldier must come home. Beyond the forest dreary, friendships will be grown. Amras was the type of friend who goes the extra mile. When his friend sought a love, Amras provided style. I am Amras, he declared. I have come to right what's wrong. The elven folk will not lay silent as long as I can sing my song. There is no love that you should fear, no commitment that's too strong, for Amras has his lyre and can still sing his song. Elves like dwarves do not change, but darkness grows ever strong. It takes those we love, tempts them to do what's wrong. When he saw that elven lamp with wooden and heated stare, a, a voice whispered in his ear, that should not be there. Your Amras, it declared, you have come to right what's wrong. The elven folk will not lay silent as long as you can sing your song. So he ran into the forest with his new friends at his side. The precious lamp both lit their way and gave them no place they could hide. First a hero, then a friend, now an outlaw who was mad. His head began to clear. He knew what he did was bad. The knowledge came too late, as a new battle now ensued. The very evil that lamp repels. Through the forest now it grew. Sometimes the evil is too great, sometimes the light is not enough, and darkness takes what it demands and destroys that which we love. Sometimes a hero is a fool. Amras fought most battles well, yet most will just remember the tragic way he fell. Some, however, sing the song of a friend whom we did know. We remember who he was. He will be with us where we go. Through the green of Mirkwood walked a figure clad in red. As the forest darkened evermore, good cheer still he spread. I am Amras, he declared. I came to right what's wrong. Yet now I just lay silent. I have sung my last song.
Aw.
Wow.
Very nice.
Very nicely done, Narvi. The Erhard glowers in jealousy. All right.
I'm so sorry. I was actually taking care of the kids when you mentioned who all is here at this
Yeah.
funeral.
Most of the woodmen are not here for sort of obvious reasons, but Kaywina and his retinue are here. The four remaining members of the party are here, and Dairon, the chief of the elves who came from Thranduil, is here, and Oldir, along with the other elves with him, and then Oldir and Duvaniel would be with him.
Cool. And it was a pyre? Was that?
A pyre for Moonin,
Okay.
and then the elves will just be laid in the earth.
Okay.
Kaywina looks around to see if anybody else is going to say anything. He steps forward and takes a torch from one of his attendants. And he says, Nefstan's son, the needled spearhead shook, the shadows shroud defying. Now the night helm Nefstan's heir covers. Kingly valor crowned him. Mulder now in mound of heroes, Wyrmslaga, the weapon worked by Dwaro, and the Mound of Moonin will maintain its vigil. And he lights the pyre. Dairon steps forward, covers over the bodies of Amras and Tinuel, each with their own cloak. And two elves lift each of their biers and lay them on the ground, as the elves and the woodmen together work to bring stones around to pile up and make a burial mound for each of them.
Duvaniel, as they're moving and as they've laid her on the ground and the others have gone to get stones, she kneels next to Tinuel and, drawing her dagger, takes a lock of her hair,
Okay.
takes it, tucks it into a hidden pocket somewhere, and takes a moment to sort of lays her hands on Tinuel's brow and says something very quiet and elvish.
All right. Dairon turns to Kaewin and says, "For the evil deeds which have been done this day, there is no recompense for your people or for mine. But all which can be done shall be done." Kaewina nods a little and says, "You do not have to convince me of that, Dairon. It's the new war leader that I'm worried about." Dairon nods. These are dark days indeed, my friend. And we have our own evils within our house, as you do. Let each do what he can. And with that, one of the elves steps forward and sings a beautiful funeral dirge. It is in Elvish, so most of you can't understand it. But it is slow, half between a chant and a song. And as she sings, the vision before you seems to accelerate. And for a moment you can see 3 green mounds covered in earth and grass and small white flowers. And as the forest ages and dies and is reborn around them, the mounds stand until at last they're nothing more than a small row of hills, while above the stars remain unchanged. When the funeral is over, Duvaniel and Old Deer leave with Dairon, headed back for northern Mirkwood and the court of Thranduil and the judgment that awaits. And the 4 of you remaining make your way back to Woodland Hall. Kaewina, as you walk, says, For my part, I do not think it would be wise to stay much longer here in Woodland Hall while Mogdred is still here. It is my intent to leave as soon as may be for Sunstead. Will you come with me, friends, or will you come after? For I tell you this day, that is my intent, that the Lady of the Lake and I shall be wed as soon as we are able to return.
We're coming for the wedding.
Okay.
Are you in any shape to travel? Are you?
Am I?
Well, let's see. You're wounded and you're at like 2 endurance.
Cool. He's limping around.
And Radagast saw to your wound, so your wound is treated, but you will need, what's your total endurance? No, what's your max endurance?
Of 22.
22. So you'll need
I've seen worse.
you would need to rest for about 10 days to be back at full strength.
Wonderful. One endurance or travel test failed, and I am unconscious.
Well, not unconscious, just fatigued, weary.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so.
I mean, you're already weary, but
You would be weary.
Yeah, but if you fall to
Yeah.
0 hit points,
if you fail a travel test, you do not lose endurance, you gain fatigue.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. I knew that.
So, so are you guys resting at Woodland Hall? And if so, for how long?
I'll travel with everyone. I don't have to rest.
Asfrid is fine.
Yeah.
Itis is fine. This is really Illyri.
It's just me then.
Yep.
Okay.
We can give it a couple days. I doubt that we miss the wedding for a couple days, right?
You all go on ahead. I'll come. I'll follow. No, that's a terrible plan.
No, I think we may need a few days. Is there a place to rest
Yeah, it's
on the
up to you,
way that is
Amanda.
not at Woodland Hall Well?
We'd always leave with Lady Amaleoda and head for the Black Tarn. Rest there and then cross by the narrows of the forest whenever you're ready.
How far is the Black Tarn?
It is right down the river here. You see where Woodland Hall is right here?
Gotta zoom my map back. Move things
So
around.
here's Woodland Hall. This is the Black Tarn.
You can tell because it's black.
Right.
Yep.
Thanks, Ben.
And then he's way south, right?
Well, he's directly east of that. He's right here.
Oh, the east fight.
Yeah, he's in the east. Bay.
So that would be over halfway.
So that'd be 1.
Amanda, you would be
2, 3,
okay
4.
unless we roll some travel and get some eyes and we have an encounter. Then
Don't say it!
that's the only
Okay.
bad thing that could possibly happen, and that's like a 1 in 12 chance.
It's 100.
Why would you do that?
Let's see. This would be on a river downstream
Kids, I'm rolling up a new character next.
in the summer. And this would be through.
That's right. I
Borderlands.
thought I was dead last time. That is.
Yeah. It would take 11 days going downriver.
If my wound is treated, I still don't like recoup until I get to full, so it's gonna take forever.
Right.
Okay.
It will take 10 days for you to fully heal.
Well, why do
I can
In which
know.
case, if you reach the Black Tarn
Yeah.
all in one piece, you will be fully healed by the time you
Yeah.
arrive.
So just heal on the way.
you think,
Okay.
Illyri?
Just a second. Fine, go get a cup. Out.
The real question is, how many travel rolls is this?
It would be 2 fatigue tests.
2 fatigue tests.
Alrighty then, let's
And there's 4 of us. So that's 8 opportunities for us to roll an eye.
Right.
1 out of 12, 8 times.
What you guys doing?
I'm coming with you. If we fall into traps, then you're the ones who are going to be fighting. I can't do that much.
Narvi shrugged. So no different than usual.
Oh! No, you didn't.
What? What?
That hurts a whole lot. Your knuckles are super bruised
He doesn't care.
from getting the crap beaten out of you.
We're doing this right now, dwarf.
I think
Outside.
right now, if Narvi blew really hard, he would knock Illyria over.
Narvi
Are you
sneezes.
sure she'd still do this? You want a piece of me, eh?
Maybe when you're feeling a little better.
What's that? Speak louder, dwarf.
I said maybe when you're feeling better.
I don't remember this.
I think perhaps we've had enough infighting for one day, don't you?
So
Well,
any
and people are throwing
He's
around.
in a bad mood right now.
screen was black.
Illyria and
I
Narvi are,
know.
without Amros here to like take it, Illyria and Narvi are devolving to infighting. That's what you missed.
Okay, well, I heard everybody, like all of Amanda's reactions and your reactions to what Jonathan was saying, minus Jonathan. It was really-
He said it won't, so it'll be just like normal without Illyria fighting.
Oh. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what is the plan? Are you guys leaving with Kaewina and Ameliota, or are you gonna hang around with Mogdred for a week?
Mm.
Yep, no. I'm gonna hang with my baby.
We are.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, as it happens, you are traveling with Kaewina and Ameliota and both of their retinues. So it's a pretty large pretty large group. Berthagund is coming with you, Asfrid.
Good.
She has officially obtained leave of her father to do so. All right. Well, as you journey downstream, this is a journey that most of you have taken at some point or other, down the Dusky River, which runs kind of gray and black underneath the prow of your ship of your boats, and overhead the trees loop and sort of bend over the tunnel created by the river, almost as if they are trying to grab at your small boats as they pass. Everybody, go ahead and give me your first travel roll.
But before you do, as we are traveling, Asfrid is going to sing a song. Kind of, the day is stretching long, and she just starts singing. So, simple golden king's cup, common though you be, you lift not up your head in pride to grasp eternity. But when your time has early come, you sit with grace and free. You do not rest for things not yours, but dance through death's dark gates, and see the great and mighty trees, the alder, beech, and yew, live their long years quietly. They do not pass like morning dew, but when their time at last has come to face that self-same gate, they bow their heads and simply choose submit to the fate. It's not a very cheerful song, but it's the song that she sang to the Morwind. She rebuked the Morwind's pride, and it's something that's with you and all been on her mind. So you may all roll for song, DN14. If you are successful, you get 2 success points to be used at any time during this session.
Is that the party song that you added last fellowship phase?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we roll travel, and we can roll an extra die later if we need to.
Well, roll song first if you would like to, and if you are successful, you may use those 2 dice on your travel roll if you like.
Roll song.
So that is why I did it now. Or you can save it for later.
Nicely done. This is auspicious.
What did you?
Nice. Nice.
So now do we? Now that we roll for song, do we roll for travel?
Yeah, so go ahead and give me your first travel roll now. This first travel roll will be at TN14.
Nice.
Success.
Asfrid
14.
has one of Kaowina's.
Porters.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I guess she doesn't really meet him.
That's what had me.
Yeah, I think I think you're fine on the. I think you're fine on the travel thing, Asfrid.
Can I help somebody with that, like,
Got them both.
extraordinary success?
I mean, that is an extraordinary success.
She's doing super okay on the travel. Can I
And
help?
I mean, there's not really any rule for that. Like, there is a way to help somebody.
With her?
If you would like to spend a.
Wedding.
Yeah, she's. I mean, the travel rule is really to see like individual people, are they fatigued.
All right.
So unfortunately, you are gonna
And
take.
all our fatigue is going to be cleared soon anyway.
Illyria, unfortunately, you are gonna take 2 fatigue. As you're still recovering from your wounds, you spend a lot of time, despite your fighting words to Narvi, you spend most of the time laying down on the bottom of the boat being mildly sick. And it's kind of a bad time. All right, and
Yeah.
second travel roll. At this, a couple of days ago, you passed Woodman Town, put in briefly for provisions before continuing on towards the Black Tarn. Now,
Richard.
yep,
I got a 13, but
With
I
your
actually get
plus
+1
one.
to
Yep.
travel.
right.
Asfrid is very, very lighthearted. She's very excited about going to her new home.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, okay. Every now and then you can hear kind of the
I like how in character the dice are being.
seriously. Every once in a while you can hear kind of the lighthearted laughter of like a woman's voice, but higher and more silvery, like the tinkling of a stream. And now and then one of the woodmen thinks that he glimpses the beautiful form of a maiden through the mist. But your journey, at the end of 11 days, Illyri, by this time you're feeling back to your old self again. So you can uncheck your wound, and you are also back to full endurance. At the end of 11 days, you arrive without incident at on the shores of the Black Tarn. And Kaowina lets you know that he's planning on basically reprovisioning, and then as soon as possible starting out across the East Bight, or across the narrows of the forest towards the East Bight. All right. You guys continue to travel with him?
I mean, now Illyri's good, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's keep going.
All right, so it's going to be another 80 miles. Unfortunately, this won't be quite as fast because you're going to be on foot instead of going downriver. Through Shadowlands. All right. As you prepare to set out, Kewina's plan is to use the boats that you came down in to cross the Black Tarn, and then set out from the southern shore of the lake, into the narrows of the forest, through the narrows of the forest into the East Bight. This is a journey of about 80 miles, and as you set out from the little dock there on the shores of the Black Tarn, you see a I'm trying to remember if this is... no, you've all seen this before. You see the stone statue of Lumerin, carved by the dwarves, still holding the elven lamp aloft. And the lamp shines perpetually, regardless of the time of day, and it enables those who are on the tarn during the sudden mists, which often spring up, to find their way home, even in the darkness. And it's there behind you, sort of this beautiful but also sort of ominous silhouette at your backs as you cross the tarn and set out across the narrows of the forest. I will need another fatigue test from everybody at TN 18.
Whoa!
Ah, so close.
Yeah, you missed it by one. Do you want to spend a point of hope?
No.
Aliri, you're one of the huntsmen. I got that stupid little... I mean, it's not a stupid song. It's a great song. But I got the song stuck in my head now. Right.
What is the roll over there? What did I do? We'll take that one, and that means I made it with a great success.
All right. Aliri, you're about 3 or 4 days into the journey, and unfortunately, heavy summer rains 2 nights previous washed away many of the provisions as you were camped out under the shelter of which you had hoped would be a large kind of a sandy embankment, and most of it actually washed away during the storm, taking many of your provisions with it. And as a result, I mean, Mirkwood is never an easy place to hunt in. Game is scarce, and the company's provisions are running short. To keep everyone going and make sure that you arrive at the final destination in good shape, you and Idis both go in search of food. But searching for food in Mirkwood is easier said than done. Edible plants are not always easily recognized, especially in a darkened land where every leaf and every blade of grass is 3 or 4 shades darker than it seems like it should be. And even as you have learned to your cost, even the most innocuous looking mushrooms can prove deadly. So I'm going to need you to make a hunting...
Kick them anymore.
I'm going to need you to give me a hunting test, please. It'll be TN 18.
Hunting roll?
No, just
my
Aliri.
herb lore? Does my herb lore help me at all?
Do you have Mirkwood lore?
No, I have herb lore.
Yeah. I'm gonna say go ahead and give me the roll in this case, because it's not just herbs, right? It's like you're looking for suitable food, and this is a more than normal difficulty, so it's gonna take more than just like passing competence. All right, would you like to spend a point of hope?
Sure. 4.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to spend a point of courage.
That'll work. All right, and the fellowship pool / courage would have reset at the start of this session. So
What's the XP total for courage?
It's your heart score, isn't it? No, not your heart. Wait.
Based off the
Well,
difference.
it's limited by the XP.
it's whatever Narvi and Asfrid's total XP
72.
is.
72 is what is the XP that we have.
So it's 72 minus. It's the difference between Asfrid or Narvi's XP and your total XP.
And then every 10 is 1 courage point up to your heart.
Right. So Idis has apparently had 22 XP. So she would get 4 courage points, for instance. So Illyri, I don't know if have you been keeping track of total XP you've gotten for the life of the character?
Let me look. I mean, okay. I only have 2 heart, so
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. So you have 2.
You get 2 courage.
Yeah. Okay. So you're able to find some roots, some berries, even a couple of mushrooms that look promising, and you do shoot a couple of young rabbits that are not at all good to eat, but do at least keep life and limb together through the remainder of the journey. Everyone give me one more fatigue test at TN 18.
I just failed your last one. How much?
If you failed your last one, so I guess this would be Idis and Illyri, you take 2 fatigue.
18 again?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What?
Whoa.
It's because Amras is dead. It's
No,
coming
I
back.
refuse.
It's coming
Oh,
back.
I knew Amras. I
No.
knew it. I knew it.
Freaking Amras!
He also sort of insulted his ghost, so he's like,
Oh.
I'm not taking none of your bad luck. Huh.
All right.
This is fine, however.
Okay. Illyri,
Do this.
as you continue to hunt for food for the company, you come on a actually, hold on. We're gonna do something. Cause 2 in a row.
Gotta be special.
Cause
Yeah.
two in a row. I mean,
Right.
freaking
Freaking Amras!
I like how he's.
Oh, it's still his fault. It's still his fault.
He's like so dead.
It'll
And
never not be his fault.
Well, I kind of like now after picking on him so much, she wants him back.
yeah,
Yes!
To
To
take
take
the
all
guy.
the bad luck.
I mean, first it was Lumarin, now it's Amras, now it's Amanda's character again. That's crazy.
No, it's not. Stop saying it. It's not true.
Who would have thought she would have gotten it twice? And the rest of us haven't gotten it once.
Narvi, you're the guide.
Oh.
Hey, I got my roll. I got an 18.
You did. However, a hazard has been triggered, and it has fallen to you. You are climbing a really as you are leading the party through the narrows of the forest. The narrows of the forest are a combination of high hills, low valleys. Remember, this is actually where some of you met Chulkeen the Weaver for the very first time. The place with like the valleys and the spider webs. So it's kind of like the narrows of the forest are not quite as thick as some of the other parts of Mirkwood, but they're still quite treacherous because of the embankments, which are sudden and aren't always where you expect them to be, or maybe aren't always where they were last time, and they sometimes end in places that you are not expecting them to end. And you're climbing an arduous and steep path that twists ever higher through this hilly terrain. And far away to the north, you can see the grim mountain peaks of the mountains of Mirkwood rising and disappearing into mists and clouds. As you're sort of looking at them and contemplating those mountains and the things which might be underneath those mountains, you lose your footing, and you realize that the path that you were leading the party on was beginning to crumble. And so you quickly divert everyone to the right, down the other side of the embankment, hoping to avoid disaster. I will need you to give me a travel test.
You got this, Narvi.
And what's the TN?
TN 18.
Remember, you've got extra dice.
Oh my! Give me an extra dice.
Well, did you pass your song?
He didn't
roll?
get a song roll.
Never mind.
Oh. Well, so that's actually 12 in the favored skill, and my favorite heart is 6, so I can actually spend a point of hope and get it.
Okay.
Nice. And it's a great success.
I'm going to spend group hope on that.
You
Fair.
managed to lead the party around the crumbling edge of the embankment and find a safe path down. And with that, after 8 days of treacherous travel through the narrows of the forest, you eventually reach the settlement of Sunstead. As you approach Sunstead, you are greeted by barking dogs and cheering folk as people anxiously await the expected news that Kewina has been made, that he has been made the ward leader of the Woodmen. And there are several people who are noticeably crestfallen once they find out what has actually happened. And Kewina brushes all of that aside, and he says, "My people, this is not the time for sadness, and this is not a time to cry over spilt milk. What is done is done. I only pray that Mogdred will lead the people with a wisdom which I do not expect from him. In the meantime, we have happier matters to discuss. I have brought the Lady of the Lake back with me, and it is my intent that as soon as preparations can be made, we should be married. Narvi, I know that perhaps our customs would be strange to you, but you have come quite far with Asfrid, and for that matter with me. I still remember very fondly the day long ago before you were the road warden when you and Asfrid and the little one Foxglove, yes. When you all made your way down here with the Helm of Peace, and I believe I ended that year with one fewer boot than I possessed formerly. Idis, I think that is also when I met you, and actually, was Idis there for that? I don't think Idis was there for that. Gosh, it's been so long. Because Idis joined. Yeah, Idis hadn't joined then, so it really was just the four of you. I would be honored if both you and Idis, and for that matter, Illyri, if you would all stay for the wedding. It will take some time for preparations, and I took the leave of sending word along to Lake Town, and hopefully Foxglove will be able to join us soon.
It would be an honor.
That's what we came all this way for, isn't it?
Very good. Well, as soon as everyone arrives. In the meantime, there are preparations to be made There are calves to slaughter and beasts to be hunted and treats to be made and wine to be purchased and all things to be made ready. Now then, let's to work and then to wed. And for some reason, Kwina is played by Kenneth Branagh in my head. So, yeah, but like Kenneth Branagh from Much Ado About Nothing. So, yeah. All right. So, at this point, several days pass. Preparations are made. Ben, are you up for foxgloving it tonight?
I can be Foxglove.
Chess.
After about a week, Foxglove arrives, having had a rather uneventful journey down from Lake Town.
It was terrible. There were no goblins.
Hello, Foxglove.
I'm glad you had a safe trip.
Foxglove, the inn has been going very well.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
It has. The fact that there was like somebody murdered in front of your door has greatly bolstered your
Foxglove.
reputation among the locals, and you have traded on that. Well, it was one of the assassins, or both of the assassins that the party killed. Yeah, it was you guys that killed him. But
I was
but
not sure
you
that
have
was
you have played that and your friendship with Prince Sanyar. You know, that time that you were hosting the prince and he was there incognito and you weren't really charging him for it that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've played that up and recouped your reputation among the locals quite considerably.
Despite the local ragamuffins' best efforts.
Yes, despite the local ragamuffins' best efforts, you have won this round, it seems.
Nice.
So the day of the wedding comes.
Not yet.
Nope. All right.
We're doing the fellowship phase first, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. Fellowship phase before the wedding. If everybody, and this includes Duvaniel and Edrahil who are not here, would like to go ahead and do a non-year-end fellowship phase action, you may do so.
So can I...
Asfrid is going to go to Narvi. Narvi.
Yes.
When we're in the lair of the week, I found a pearl. It's set in silver, and I would like to make a necklace for the wedding, but I don't know of anyone who has the skill that you do. Would you be willing to take and make a necklace for me?
Of course. I would be honored.
And so she. Asfrid will be adding a song to the company list that hasn't actually been finished yet, but it's done.
Okay.
And that'll be my non-year fellowship phase is crafting that.
Okay.
All right. So we're just going to go down the line. So Asfrid, you're adding a song. Narvi, you are crafting a necklace. So go ahead and give me a crafting roll, please.
Please.
I'm using my magic number on this. Oh my goodness.
You still got an 18.
Yeah.
I do to
And
my
extraordinary.
What does,
beautiful and pearl.
yeah, what does the eye do to it? Nothing. Just
It's cursed.
Well, hold on.
It's extraordinary
Is it
success.
still an extraordinary success? So is that a magical item without me having to use my hammer?
Let's see here. Crafting rules. All right, you get to roll the feat die twice. So roll me
Boy.
roll me 2d12. The eye doesn't do anything here. It's just a 0 on this roll. So you got to roll me 2d12. All right. So your best result was a 7. All right.
So is that a what quality is that?
Although there is nothing particularly magical about the necklace, you have made something which is worth far more than an item of this type would typically fetch. It is worth 1d6 treasure. So in this case, 6.
I'm going to spend a point of hope and make that a
It
magical.
itself is worth 60 treasure. Affect this, because 1d6 is
It's
not 60.
oh, is the pearl worth 60 treasure?
Yes, it is.
The necklace is worth 66 treasure.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's worth how much?
Apparently, Asfrid's just walking around with pearls worth like the value of the hoard of a very well-off troll. Just like
I was
walking
gonna say,
around with it.
That one thing hanging around her neck is like Foxglove's entire net worth.
Yeah. Maybe the price of a good bit of Lake Town. Like 60 treasure is a lot of money.
Uh-huh. It is.
Sophie, is that good enough, or do you want me to spend a point of hope and make it a magical item, which might or might not be cursed?
Well, it wouldn't be a magical item. You would just get to roll another d12 and maybe get a better result. But you could also get an eye, in which case it would be cursed.
That's
Well,
a
specifically, Richard, specifically
never
with the
had
hammer,
thing.
if I
I can manage without them, and if it is magical, then I'll feel bad because I could technically pass it on to Warsong.
Warsong.
I won't, and then I'll.
Jonathan, if you use the hammer for a magical success, it increases the level of success by 1 automatically.
right, and I get a free wisdom bonus to all craft rolls,
Right.
plus the option of spending a point of hope to obtain a magical success.
Right. So the magical success is, basically, well, it turns. You already had an extraordinary success, so yeah.
Right.
I guess it would just be magical. Yeah. Like there's nowhere to go from there. So
Oh, okay.
so it's up to you.
No, that's fine. There's nowhere to go. We're good.
All right.
Does
Like
the extraordinary success thing clear some of his shadow?
you do need it
Does it?
no. But
thought
you
it-
do
I don't
need to roll the
have-
feet no, but you do need to roll the feet die for me one more time. Because I forgot, I didn't realize you have not just a great success but an extraordinary success. So you need to roll one more d12. All right, so yeah, there's no change. Okay. All right, so you have crafted a necklace that is worth 66 treasure. It is a silver necklace with an extremely valuable pearl set in it. Okay. Asfrid, you did a song. Illyri, what are you doing?
I think I am. Let me check one thing, and then I'll let you know.
Okay. Duvania, what are you doing?
I need to kill some corruption. So
All right. Give
So
me
you-
a song or a craft roll.
I have no craft, but I'm gonna do some songing.
Close the door, Xander.
Would you like to spend a point of hope?
Yeah, if I spend a point of hope, that would get me there. It is my.
Courage, Ben. Spend courage.
Do I have courage?
You're not in the party yet.
I didn't think so.
All right.
Yeah, you haven't met these people yet.
And if I'm already miserable, but if I get that would drop me 2. Yeah, no, this is a lose-lose bargain here. That drops me by 2. And then
You've got one more fellowship phase tonight, so
Okay, well, the death of her brother still hangs
Okay.
heavily upon Devaniel as she steps in her journeys eastward to cheer herself with song and with the natural world, and finds it seems to have lost its luster for her.
Yep. You can't look at that hideous fungal growth without thinking of Amros now. You know. Edrihil, what are you doing?
Well, you said I could spend the fellowship phase either in Rosgable
Uh-huh.
or in Thranduil's halls, correct?
That is correct.
I kind of think that I would want to. Would Borlad be staying with me?
Yeah, probably for the time being.
And will the guy we're traveling with go with us as well?
The guy you're traveling with.
We were going to accompany Athalar.
Oh. You weren't accompanying Athalar like immediately. Like Athalar is talking like he's going after Mogdred, but he's not doing that immediately. So
Okay. Then I think we'll fellowship in Thranduil's halls.
okay. What would you be doing there?
I'd like to visit the Sentinel Oak.
Okay.
So for the next adventuring phase, all travel rolls in the Woodland Realm, the Mountains of Mirkwood, or the Heart of Mirkwood are at -2.
That seems handy. Cool. Very good.
What does
Alright.
it actually mean to visit the oak? You just go and like,
There's a special oak called the Sentinel Oak.
right? But do you like just go look at it and that makes everything easier, or
Hey,
what do you actually do there?
it is a high elf thing. It's really not a high elf thing.
Hold on, I will.
Yeah, we're pretty exclusive.
So the Sentinel Oak is the prince of the eastern half of Mirkwood. In the winter and spring, it has a mantle of frost that glitters like diamond cloaks on the tree. All of the other trees of the forest obey and honor the Sentinel Oak, even those under shadow.
The Sentinel Oak was planted by Orufir a very long time ago, and it is one of the, as JM just said, one of the greatest trees in the forest, and certainly in the eastern half of the forest.
Cool.
Yes, I will go and just spend time under the tree, listening to its words.
Very good. All right, that takes us to the day of the wedding.
Actually,
It doesn't come because Illyri has figured out what she wants to do. Illyri, what are you doing?
I want to make some more carvings in my spear.
All right. Are you
It's
just
a
doing
craft
a
roll.
craft roll? Yep. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
okay.
Nope.
Well,
You do carve some on your spear.
what is it? I have to get to 14, and it's craft is a body. I can do it with a point of hope or a point of courage. I'm gonna do that.
Your call. Okay. You roll a d12 for me.
Okay. Why am I rolling a d12?
To see what you crafted. All right. Or was this to clear shadow?
Clear shadow.
Oh, it was to clear shadow. Okay, I thought you were taking the craft fellowship phase undertaking.
No, I'm clearing shadow.
Okay, then in that case you clear. Is it 2 shadow? Yeah, you
2.
clear 2 shadow.
Cool.
All right.
I'm
So
so good.
while all of this is happening,
Yep.
I cannot. This is not a fellowship phase action, but Asfrid has taken Berthagoon kind of under her wing, and Warsong has kind of adopted Asfrid. I mean, and she's okay with it,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah. So they kind of end up being a trio.
And
A lot of-
Foxglove is here too.
Foxglove too. I'm pretty sure Foxglove and Warsong hit it off pretty well.
I think so. Yes. I think if nothing else, Foxglove finally found someone who will like listen to her stories
so-
of adventure.
So then Foxglove, is it okay to call you Foxglove, or should I call you Miss Foxglove, or like Lady Foxglove, or
Hey, Lady Foxglove will do.
Okay, Lady Foxglove. So that was when you stabbed the Nicor and single-handedly slew it?
There was some minor crushing.
And then you set fire to the Morrowend's whole mansion.
I did. It was a mighty palace.
Wow, that's.
I mean,
I've really just I've killed a few orcs, and there was one spider. I didn't really kill. That was mostly my brother, but I've never killed a whole palace full of sea serpents.
there was. Well, yes.
I don't want this to be disrespectful. Do you want to ride my dog?
Like a pony.
Some people have compared him to a pony.
Why?
I would.
While you're having this conversation, Asfrid is over with Berthagoon in another, same room, kind of different side of the room, watching, but she's also sewing,
Okay.
and Berthagoon is helping her.
Okay.
She doesn't entirely improve of the wild tales that Foxglove is pouring into Warsong, but at the same time,
What are you gonna do?
it's Foxglove, and
Yeah.
Warsong is laughing it up, and it's okay.
Berthagund.
Bad could happen, right?
Why do you eat?
Berthagund is helping with some of the stitching, Asfrid. I assume this is your dress?
Yes.
And she says, I do not know how to thank you for agreeing to bring me out here. They say change is as good as a rest.
It can be.
What's your plan for me after the wedding and all?
Are you still having the dreams?
Sometimes.
I want to figure out why. But in the meantime, there are always things that need to be done.
I will try to find a way to make myself useful.
You are doing a very good job of it right now. And she nods towards the work that Berthagoon has done so far.
All right. Is there anything anybody else would like to do, or anybody?
Idis.
Idis! I did not mean to skip you, Jess. You're so quiet. You gotta speak up. Okay, Idis, what are you doing for your fellowship phase?
I think I can submit a song, right?
Uh-huh.
So I just wrote a retirement song.
She wrote a retirement song.
Awesome. Nice.
Wow.
She will not, however, be singing.
What's that?
She will not, however, be singing.
Okay. So is it a song you've actually composed, or is it okay?
Yes, I had it here. Ben's pulling it up.
Cool.
So roll for it.
Yeah. Awesome. I hope you guys are keeping track of all the songs somewhere.
I have a page, actually. One written songs. It's linked at the top of the blog.
Okay.
I will add Asfrid's and
And Illyri's. Very
Illyri.
or Idis, sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can add mine.
Yours is like a collection of dirty limericks I wrote this afternoon about Amras, so it's
I could see you were having some fun with that.
yeah. Well, I put all the rejected ones in the chat. I saved the real one for tonight. All right.
Okay, so she actually has a poem.
Cool.
You still need to roll for that?
No, not if she's actually got a.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, fantastic.
Oh, sure.
Yes, please read it. I would love to hear it.
wait or run or fall, but simply tend to open earth where great became so small. Now seasons slipped towards hollow seas where duty treads no more, and I shall find a peace once more upon their quiet shore.
Cool. Can you put that in there? I didn't hear all of it, so I need to see the words.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. So we have there it is. For the Lord.
I like it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Very nice. All right. So Idas, you spent a little time kind of composing and singing and resting after the honestly the harrowing ordeals of the last month. And all right, have I forgotten anybody else? Okay. The day of the wedding comes around. Narvi, as along with some of Kaewina's thanes, you'll be accompanying him as part of the groom's party. And so, as the day of the wedding comes, Asfrid and Kaewina are both taken off to different parts of the town. And Narvi, you go in with Kaewina, where Kaewina is stripped down and scraped and bathed. And as this is happening, it is the job of his male companions, of which you're the only one, because all the others died. And some of his thanes too. To offer advice. Perhaps marital advice, or relationship advice, or bedroom
This should be
advice.
good.
Whatever sort of advice you feel like Narvi would have to pass on to Kaewina, this is your time.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. I hadn't really.
Well, I'll give you a moment to think about it. Warsong's father, Grimbeorn, the houndsman, has a veritable passel of advice to hand out, and some of it is like really practical stuff, and some of it's really practical stuff, and some of it is in verse form. He says,
You have a peeping Tom.
"For old time's sake, Ben, give me a stealth roll."
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Nope. It's all good. It's good.
14.
Yeah.
Boom!
Hey.
Even
I don't
weary.
think you're actually weary though.
Yeah, I don't think you're actually weary, but okay. So you are peeping in at the hole, and you can see
Wow.
Kaewina, the generous. And now more than ever, the cognomen makes sense to you. And and Warsong's father gives his advice, and he says, "Now plainly I speak, since both I have seen. Unfaithful as man to maid, we speak them fairest when thoughts are falsest, and wile the wisest of hearts. Let him speak soft words and offer wealth who longs for a woman's love. Praise the shape of the shining maid. He wins who thus doth woo. Never a whit should one blame another whom love hath brought into bonds. Oft a witching form will fetch the wise, which holds not the heart of fools. Never a whit should one blame another for a folly which many befalls. The might of love makes sons of men into fools, which once were wise. The mind knows alone what is nearest the heart, and sees where the soul is turned. No sickness seems to the wise so sore as in not to know content. Everybody kind of and Grimborn just sort of nods sagely and sits down. Narvi, is there any advice you would like to contribute?
So, Narvi, as Kaelin pointed out earlier, Narvi's not used to their traditions. They're
Right.
very, very different from Dwarf traditions.
Right.
Although the level of clothing at this point is about the same. So
It's a
he's
family
kinda
show.
He's kind of feeling awkward because he's known Kaelina for a long time, but like he doesn't feel like he knows him well enough to be in the position that he seems to find himself in right now. So he's sort of grubbing for words. He starts out, with an old, dwarven talk that most dwarves are given at one point or another regarding dwarven men and women, and discussing, you want to look for someone with the greatest amount of hair in the greatest amount of parts of your body, and Keowina's kind of looks at him, and he's realizing that's not really the same type of thing that they're looking for. So he just says, just remember that they call you the generous, but with Asfrid, she is a special treasure. You must treat her with twice the generosity with which you already rule. And then he kind of starts muttering, and that's really the only thing he says that is really logical.
Well said indeed. Asfrid, in the meantime, you and your lady friends, which is basically everybody else in the party, plus Foxglove.
What?
You
Illyri
also
looks like a girl. She is dressed in
No,
some
I
kind
meant
of
that.
dress
I meant
that
the
somebody
plus
else picked
Foxglove.
out for her.
you smell like flowers. It's
Yeah.
totally weird.
There's braids and flowers. Huh?
Doesn't recognize her for at least about the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're just like, I don't know who that is, but it would be rude to say so.
And she's standing really stiffly, like, this is such a weird, very uncomfortable with it.
And
So-
then when Asfrid does recognize her, it's what should have known it all along, but
Right.
you're a girl.
So Asfrid, there is for you a similar time of ritual washing and advice giving. Idis, Illyri, Foxglove, is there any advice you would like to pass on to Asfrid?
Oh.
Good
Wow.
thing you didn't ask us to prep this, because it would have been too good.
You should have. That would have been amazing.
This is girl talk time, so I mean, this is where you get to say those really super embarrassing things without any social repercussions, because it's your
So
character, not
hilarious.
you. So
Okay.
Basically what Foxglove dreams of.
yeah, yeah.
Did Amanda just disappear for
She,
anyone else?
yeah, she's back. She keeps disappearing and
Hi.
then reappearing.
I do.
All right.
All right.
I can't see Narvi. Just a second.
Foxglove goes
Still
up and in typical Hobbit fashion places her hand on Asfrid's hip, because that's like shoulder height.
Yep.
And looks up into her eyes and says,
It's okay though, because Asfrid's hips don't lie.
Sure, that's applicable here. Yeah.
says, Asfrid, you are one of my oldest friends. In fact, probably my only friend. and I I would say there's only 2 men in all of Mirkwood that I would think are fit for you. And Lumarin tried to have the other one.
What?
So I think this was the only one left. And so
Aaron tried?
well, he died. And left him very, very sad in the most elfish way possible. And so all I have to say to you is he is the largest pony in the paddock. I verified this.
What have you done?
And
Illyria is laughing her head off.
Yes.
and I will say that I hope you have many, many children, and that you teach those children to respect their elders, no matter how tall.
Well, that I can promise. Well,
And you must promise to write me as often as possible. And if you ever decide to move to Lake Town, you can have the back room of the tavern.
thank you, Foxglove.
You're welcome.
I will remember that, and I will write. And you better write back. You did
Oh,
not.
I will.
You did not send very many letters back home.
Well,
So send more to me than you did back home.
I have new motivation to write home.
Do you?
There are a very paltry number of men my stature in Lake Town or Dale, and I feel that perhaps I must send out for this.
I think that is a wonderful idea, Fox.
Now that I'm a woman of means, I feel that I have something to offer.
You always did.
Well, thank you for making that every bit as awkward as I knew you could, Ben. Illyria or Idis, would either of you have any advice to...
Idis just says to Asfrid that I know you will be ending your adventuring days, but I hope you don't lose all of your adventurous spirit. And some other things about not turning soft and keeping her chin up and, you know, that's all.
Illyria just if you ever need, well, no, that's not a kind thing to say. Well, I'm here for you. Whatever you like. If things go, no, I shouldn't say that either. Good luck.
Warsong pipes up. I don't really have a lot of experience but my family have been breeding dogs for many generations, and you know,
Best wedding party ever.
I'm gonna stop right there, and that yeah. back at the ranch, Kaywina has been newly dressed and put in new forged armor. And Narvi, you accompany him and his thanes as they walk to a place about 5 or 10 minutes outside of the town. And there, a large mound has been raised. And there is a low stone door, like no actual door to it, but just like, like 2 posts and a lintel. 3 pieces of stone, and there is it's the entrance is dark, but the stonework and just the dirt, like it's so fresh that grass has not even grown over it yet. So this is clearly a new work. And Kaywina, as you've been walking, explains to you. In ancient times, it was customary to when your father died, he was buried with his sword, and then when it came time for you to marry and to assume the responsibilities as the new head of the family, to go into the barrow to claim the family sword as your own. In cases such as mine, where there is no barrow from which I can claim an ancestral sword, a sort of a mock barrow has been raised. The tradition is a very important one, and these are the sorts of things you have to observe. The going down into the barrow is supposed to represent dying to the old man that you were, the single man that you were, and becoming something new. So he walks up to the entrance of the barrow, and he says, "Hard in how the haft lays glinting, where once warriors mighty left it, leaving lusty hearth companions, fathers felled in fearful battle. To me return, the twice renowned, Woodwow's weapon, the wieldy brand. Earth's old mouth I enter, fearless, Kaywina, Carrick's son, honored heirloom, to hold I claim." And he walks into the barrow, and a moment later he emerges again with an ancient sword clasped at his side. As the ladies finish getting Asfrid ready for the wedding, they spread her hair out, as this is the last time that Asfrid will ever wear her hair down and uncovered. And they spread it out over her shoulders and place the bridal crown upon her head. Now, typically speaking, the bridal crown would be made of straw or wheat or something like that. In this case, though, the wheat, which is a symbol of fertility, is more figurative, as the bridal crown has in fact been commissioned. It appears some time ago by Kaywina from the dwarves, and is forged of gold and silver, and it has several small ornamental, sort of the each peak of the crown is a small ornamental, very finely carved, intricately carved sheaf of wheat, and the whole thing has been decorated with bright cloth and summer fruits. And the bridal crown is placed upon your head, Asfrid, and together with your maidens, you come to the hill outside the door of Kaywina's great hall. And there Kaywina stands. And there's no priest or anything to officiate. But Kaywina steps forward, and he before the witnesses that are assembled there, which is basically the whole town of Sunstead, he gives you the bride price, which is a truly wondrous thing. It is a drinking horn, but it is carved not of bone, not of horn, but of a strange, smooth, white substance. And he says, this horn is of something called ivory. It is taken from the great tusks of beasts which live far to the east. It is worth 10 times its weight in gold and gems. But of such worth I deem you Lady of the Lake. And to you I give it as a token of the many cups you will serve in my hall, and the many nights and days that you and I will sit together at the high table and look upon our people and be glad.
Asfrid takes the horn, and then who is Foxglove the one standing next to her?
I don't think Foxglove would let anybody else do it.
Probably not.
I don't think so. Okay, so she.
I'll be wearing Eason Peter despite being in wedding attire.
Yeah. Oh, and the dress that Asfrid is wearing is made of red silk. It was a gift to her from Queen before she died.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
Man,
that
all
is
this
what,
stuff is just coming back around tonight.
That is what she and Bertha Goon and Foxglove and Warsong were working on.
Okay.
She hands the horn to Foxglove and then reaches up and unclasps the necklace that she's wearing around her neck. This pearl was set in silver by the elves of Beleriand and taken into darkness for I don't know how long, until it came to me. It has now been forged by a dwarf, and she looks at Narvi, into something even more beautiful than it had been. And I give it to you as my dowry. This is for the many light days that I believe we will have in the future.
He turns to one of the thanes standing at his side, and from him he takes the ancestral blade, and he presents it to you hilt first, and he says, hold this in trust for the sons which you will bear me.
Asfrid takes the sword, and then who is holding hers?
One of you is holding the new sword that Asfrid had forged for Kaewina.
Idis.
Good call. Good call.
Hi.
Asfrid turns to Idis and holds her hand out for the sword. And then turns back to Kaewine and hands it to him, hilt first. With this sword, protect and defend the daughters which I will bear you.
And at this point, Kaewina reaches into his belt and produces a small golden ring, which he places on the hilt of the sword and presents to you, Asfrid.
Asfrid does the same with a ring and presents it in the same way and takes the one that he gave her.
You place the rings on each other's fingers, and Kaelina takes you in his arms and kisses you.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yes, except that now it is time for something very important, which would have been explained to all of you beforehand. Once the wedding ceremony is complete, there is a race.
To the buffet.
The race goes around, down the hill, around the town, back up the hill and into the hall. It is the groom's party versus the bride's party. And the loser has to serve the ale.
Oh.
So what are we
This is
rolling?
These will
Travel?
be athletics rolls.
Crap. You sure it's not
Also,
travel?
just as a side note, as the as the two of them exchange rings, a figure at the back of the group, an elf appears in a red cloak at the back of the gathering.
All right.
Okay. A different red cloak.
Not the dead one.
Ooh, you're so party.
Anakin Skywalker in this.
Gosh
That's what
darn
I
it.
was thinking.
All right. Kaelina extends his arms and says, "My friends, I thank you for being with me in this day of my greatest joy. And now, it is time for the race.
Can I trip Narvi before we start?
You can certainly try. On your
What do I roll
marks,
for that?
get set, go!"
How many rolls?
Hang on, can I?
Give me a dagger roll, Amanda.
Okay. Oh, my dagger's not very high.
Are there multiple rolls?
I'm going to lean over to O'Leary
Deuces.
and be like, this.
I feel
this
like
could-
that's Illyri giving both fingers to Narvi. Like,
I'm gonna lean over to O'Leary and be like, this could make you look very, very bad. You should probably quit. I'm gonna roll. Not 12. Oh well. It was worth a try.
Be using her 2 extra success die
all right,
before I roll.
okay.
All
And
right.
Asfrid is racing too.
Alrighty.
so
Oh, dang.
Okay,
All right, let's actually do athletics now.
this is for Foxglove.
All right, give me athletics rolls.
All right, there's mine.
Slash rolls, Sophie.
yeah, I'm redoing it.
All right, Narvi, would you like to spend a point of hope?
Well, right now I'm beating.
Well, it's yeah, but it's counting successes. So right now, none of you have successes, except for
come on.
Asfrid.
Ordinary
Except for
success.
Asfrid, who has 3.
No, I
I'm-
don't. I don't have hope to spare. I
I'm
can't
using a
spare
point
hope
of
for
hope
this.
for that.
Okay.
Can I help one of my teammates? It's athletics. Usually you can with athletics.
That's
I have
true.
extraordinary
Well,
success and
it's-
myself.
Here's the thing.
Hey, I did make a sweet necklace for you.
Here's the thing. It's going to be the total successes of each party.
Okay.
So
Wait, but I'm the only guy here.
you're not the only guy here. I'm gonna roll for the other things.
Warsong's dad is also there, right?
Yeah. So this is for Grimbeorn.
And Foxglove are spending hope since,
Grimbeorn does not get it. We'll see about
We just
Alaric.
rolled once.
Alaric gets 1 success, and Arnulf 10, 11, 12. Nope. All right. So the trash talking notwithstanding, the bridal party manages to pull out well ahead of the Kaelina's party as the groups go off racing down the hill.
This is not short distances, dwarf.
Everyone's legs are too long.
Yes. Narvi, you're huffing and puffing behind people.
Leary has picked up her like skirt and like is like crazy running.
Astrid has her skirt hiked up too, and she's just bolting for it.
Very good. All right, everyone give me a second athletics roll.
Aw.
I'm so sorry, JM.
No, I'm just like Narvi. Hike up your skirt and get out there. That's the key.
Okay,
Oh, Astrid rolled an eye.
That's
Yes.
not ominous.
is it TN14?
Oh, shoot.
Okay, she's spinning a point of hope.
I
Okay,
got
that was
snake
Itis.
eyes.
No, no, she doesn't have courage.
Nope, that was no. All right, that was actually Foxglove that just rolled that one. So Itis is actually
Oh,
rolling.
you needed one more.
You want to spend some hope, Itis?
That's fine.
Run, Narvi, run!
Do it, Foxglove. Can you spend hope?
Yes, I have hope to spend.
Can I make it?
All right. How many successes did Itis? Itis, which one is Itis's actual roll?
The second one.
The second one.
Spending a point of hope to actually get it right to 14,
Okay. And then the first one is Foxglove.
and she's also spending a point of hope.
So 1, 2, 3, 4,
We will need hope
One,
when
two,
we're fighting
three.
giant spiders.
4, 5.
They're not going to be around.
Are you spending hope,
Not now,
Asfrid,
but
or?
Astrid did spend hope to make it a success.
All right. The men do not fall farther behind, but the bridal party manages to keep their lead as they round the circuit of the village and start back up the hill. Everybody give me one more athletics roll.
Oh.
All right, this time it's Itis.
Oh, man.
All right, athletics for
You guys are just like racking up the hunt counter.
Yeah, well, somebody just made us all take 3 rolls.
All right,
Oh,
athletics. Oh,
it's okay, guys. We still got it.
All right, so the bridal party makes it up to the top of the hill. Illyri, at this point, huffing and puffing and straggling behind, but the bridal party is the clear winner. Well, you're half dwarf, but the bridal party is the clear is
an extra third.
a clear winner of the contest. And as you approach the top of the hill, you see sitting in front of the hall with a naked sword drawn and laid across his knees, Kaewina the Generous.
I do it.
And
What?
he stands
Typically, it's rigged and the guys have horses.
and smiles. Oh, well, Kaewina wasn't running. He has something else to do. He smiles and stands. Extends a hand to you, Asfrid.
Astrid takes his hand.
And he leads you across the threshold. And as you cross the threshold, the toe of your right foot snags. And for a moment you stumble, and Kaewina catches you. But several people notice.
Foxglove, take her shoe.
And a couple of people kind of mutter and just kind of, I don't know.
What?
Wait, who stumbled?
And,
Astrid stumbled and Kaewina.
She was crossing the threshold to her new home.
and Kaewina leads you into the hall, and he shakes his head and he says, "Think nothing of old wives' tales, my dear. We have outlived luck."
But not the Morwen.
And he raises his sword above his head. And he brings it down into the hall, into the pillar of the hall. And the sword strikes deep. And when he pulls it out again, there's a chip in the edge of the blade. And Grimbjorn looks at it, looks at the pillar, and he says, "It is a deep scar. That is good." And the feast begins.
Yay! Poison wine for everyone.
Well, speaking of wine, the very first thing before the feast begins in earnest, get in bed. No, get in bed.
Okay, all right.
Before the
Everyone's gone.
before the feast begins in earnest, get in bed. I'm just tired of waiting around.
Wow.
Before,
Timing is everything.
yeah. Before the
so
feast,
you have to take pictures with the family.
actually, we are skipping the part tonight where the friends of the couple have to witness the consummation of the marriage. But that would normally be included. Just so you know. I think that's what they mean when they say it's a family show.
You don't. Yeah, no one wants like a creepy old uncle just there. It's like I'm just.
I'm so sorry, JM, that it worked out
No,
this
dude,
way.
it's totally fine.
I'm so sorry. Like I feel so bad for you, but you're not here, and you wouldn't have any reason to be here. And it,
Well,
No,
talking to a tree.
I, JM, get to just personally watch all of this.
Yeah.
And enjoy all of Ben's eyebrows.
So, Asfrid, it is your duty to formally confirm your role as housewife, to fill the cup and bring it to your lord.
So Asfrid she would be using the one that he gave her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Asfrid takes the one that he gave her and fills it with wine. Where is this wine from?
Good
question.
Most of the wine comes from Lake Town.
Was that
Foxglove probably brought it with her.
do what?
I think Foxglove probably traveled with the.
One of Asfrid's very good friends, Ulfgar, is a wine merchant.
Yes, we know. She knows.
Also, yeah.
Yeah, she knows. Foxglove with the wine. It's this Foxglove special wine that she guarded the whole time.
I feel like Foxglove's special wine probably has hair in it from all the bare hobbit feet.
Wine probably means she hasn't worked out the kinks yet.
She's going to fill the horn with the wine and take it to Lord Keowena. Ale I bring thee, thou oak of battle, with strength blended and brightest honor. 'Tis mizz with magic and mighty songs, with goodly spells, wish-speeding runes. Hands it to him.
He takes the cup, raises it to his lips, and drinks deeply from it.
Is he okay?
As he lowers the cup, he says, "Now, my friends, join me as I rejoice and celebrate my marriage." And the feasting begins. The feast itself lasts a week, and there is Well, there is a considerable amount of drinking. There's a considerable amount of eating. Kewina is, well, he's known as the Generous, and he takes good care of his guests. There are also a number of, shall we say, competitions that go on. Some of them formal, and some of them less so. Many of them held for small baubles, and many of them for other trinkets. There are storytelling contests. There are dancing contests. There are wrestling contests. And there are insult contests.
Wow.
Would any of you like to participate in any of these events?
Foxglove wants to do the insult contest.
So does Leary.
Cool. Foxglove and Illyri.
Why? Why is this happening?
Foxglove and Illyri. You stand up before the I know! I can't control these things.
Yes, you can.
Well, but I don't. But I don't.
Put a radiation pipe right above our heads.
No, I don't control these things. I just give you guys rope. It's not the same thing.
And say, hey, why don't you tie this around your neck? Nothing bad'll happen.
All right. Foxglove and Illyri, you step up onto the stage together. It's not the high table, but it's one of the smaller, houses, and there's a table up at the stage is just like it's a table. Everybody's extremely intoxicated by this point. Call it heads or tails, Amanda.
Heads.
All right, you were going first.
Awesome. Okay. What are the criteria for this? Would she know that?
I mean,
Is there
you want to come up with the most elaborate and body insult possible.
So channel Robin Williams from Hook.
Yeah, like if you can if Robin Williams from Hook was reading Geoffrey Chaucer, that's what you want to go for. So what you got?
Is Foxglove doing this? Because I think she ought to.
Foxglove, I believe, is doing this.
Foxglove is on the other side of the table from Illyri at this moment.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
They're throwing down. And
what are
Foxglove
we
once
rolling
beat
for
an
this?
elf in a riddle contest. This is riddle unless you have a really good insult, in which case I'll not make you roll for it.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
You're a bad person, and you should feel bad.
I have 2 in riddle. Okay, that's not so bad. Hold on.
You're short, and you have hair on your toes. Like, Foxglove is not hard.
Oh, I know, but I was trying to make it slightly more clever than that. Slightly. I don't know. We'll see. I feel really, it feels kind of wrong doing this with a child.
All right. Let's never say those words again. Like, are we not doing phrasing? When did we stop doing phrasing?
Thank you for that, for pointing that out.
It wasn't me. Okay. All right. Everybody in the hall kind of goes, ugh. And it is your turn, Foxglove.
She's had a lot to drink.
Foxglove takes a long draft on her drink and hands it down to Warsong and says, "One you should mention, children."
Warsong sneaks a sip.
I've met children who are not only bigger, and stronger and more clever. I've in fact been known as a child to yet defeat dragons.
Everybody starts losing interest in Foxglove's insult.
Kind of going and going. It's like he looks down at Warsong and is like, I don't think I've got it in me.
Oh, I remember there's her father was a dwarf and she's really sensitive about that.
Oh, that's right. Your butt is a dwarf.
My what?
Oh my
Harvey
goodness.
overhears this and kind of looks over and then shakes his head.
Huh? Oh no. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is your
Would
two.
these be the same children that kept your business from working out?
No, those are other children.
So was that your insult, Illyri?
Yeah.
Okay. Foxglove.
I'm trying to think of what actually Foxglove actually knows about Illyri.
You don't really have to like actually know. I mean, you're just
Yeah.
making up like the most like offensive insults you can. Like, all your football team sucks and all of your girlfriends are sexually unfulfilled. Like that sort of thing. Like, it doesn't have to be clever. That's from Black Books. It doesn't have to be clever. Like, it's just.
Well, it should be noted that your feet are completely bald.
Okay. Everybody's kind of. Which is ironic because actually Illyri's feet are not completely bald.
Yes, they are. They are too.
She plucks them every night.
With her beard. Don't forget her beard.
See,
And you-
there's.
Asfrid,
I see.
this is not your competition.
All right, Illyri. It wouldn't be too hard to beat Foxglove at this point. Do you have something really good?
What's it like having a mouse for a mother?
It's all right. It's amazing the places you can go and everyone's got holes in the walls.
It's true, you know that.
I know, right? He is very generous.
Because she told me about the hole in the... Nope.
Yeah, so at this point, everybody just sort of goes back to their drinking.
But I clearly won that, right?
I don't think anybody won that. That
No, that was horribly impromptu and horrible.
This is what Illyri should have used. All right. So
Nice.
You know that Foxglove is also
okay. In the meantime, over at the storytelling
I did
contest.
that with a mouse.
Let's again. Why would you say? Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
Seriously, we gotta bring
No.
phrasing back into the rotation.
It feels weird to do this with a child. I did that with a mouse. What is happening to
Well, I
my
wasn't
game?
going to share the Shakespeare quote, but from Othello.
There you go. You're in the index and prologue. That's good.
That's right.
So, yeah. Okay, so the insult contest just sort of devolves into
I'm just talking about the hole in the wall.
into like awkward drunk people just being awkward. Warsong does attempt to participate in the storytelling contest, however. And at this point, Jess, Ranny would have. I should have said this all along. I'm sorry. There's been a lot of balls to juggle tonight. Some of them metaphorical.
We're just here for jams.
Yeah, it's just here for jam.
Best mustache.
Yes, just.
You know
Randy,
what?
Randy would have showed
I
up.
didn't see you step up, Narvi.
Randy would have showed up for the. The wedding, and probably at some point after the ceremony, probably found Warsong.
Okay.
And so you're with Warsong when she stands up and she kind of looks at you a little uneasily, and she says, okay, don't hate me for this, all right? I've got a story. I've got a story to tell. It's a little song, and it goes like this.
I met a girl that had a gauge. The wise woman came with her old gray hair and her crooked little cane. She said, lass, you must listen. If you ever want to wed, he must beat you in a fight, or he'll never warm your bed. And every lad that met her loved the ribbon in her hair and the shapely way she filled her dress and didn't have a care. And when they came to court her, whether night or at dawn, she'd say, take me on a walk in that field over yon. The first lad that came her way liked her cheery sass, and he thought it would be easy to win against a lass. He thought that he'd be careful and pretend like it was hard, and let her think she'd almost won and then get past her guard. But then to his chagrin, those blue eyes that he loved with a light laugh were gone, and he saw the sky above. He felt upon his noggin a lump that was brand new, and the lass with a grin said goodbye and toodaloo. The second lad that came was a blacksmith's son, and his arms were very large, and every fight he had won. He wasn't half bad looking, and he thought he had a chance to the lass's eye and win the battle dance. But too quickly he had reckoned on his knowledge and his size, and the strength of his fingers when the lass he apprised. His fingers, they were broken, but only just a few, when the lass sigh said goodbye and toodaloo. After that, another lad came to try his luck, an archer by trade and a handsome young buck. The lass took a shine to him more than all the rest, but with the gay she always had to try her best. So when he tried to pin her down, to his surprise he found that his nose had made acquaintance with the rocky ground. He tried to win the girl, which he couldn't do, and the lass with a sigh said goodbye and toodaloo. The battle maid's still waiting as far as I know, and if you want to win her to the Bjornings you must go. But let this be a lesson, remember what I said, for she might break an arm or possibly your leg. But the man that's understands her what a prize he will get, with those laughing sky blue eyes and the lovely silhouette. And if you grieve the day that old woman placed the gage, you would neither be the first or the last in this case.
Wow. Did you make that up?
On the spot?
No.
That
And it definitely doesn't involve any characters that have ever been mentioned in this game.
Yeah.
Would assure anybody of that.
Yeah.
Aw.
And when she's done, and there's like a lot of applause, and everybody was really getting to the story, and she's like, obviously it's not about anybody that I know. And she looks at Ranny. You know, just a story, just a story that I heard.
That's amazing.
And so the wedding festival continues throughout the remainder of the week. And as it concludes, eventually the sad time comes for real life to recommence and people to return to their homes. And at this point, we are going to do a year-end fellowship phase. I know it's late, We're going to do a year-end fellowship phase, the year-end narration, and we're going to roll on our wheel and woe tables, and that will be the session. So, Asfrid, for your year-end fellowship phase, I believe you are naming an heir.
I am. Warsong, who we have spent a fair amount of time with.
This is, as you all know, Asfrid's final session as a player character. From her beginnings as a really cool NPC through her very unexpectedly successful character arc. It's been quite the ride, and I will miss her very much. She'll still be around, but not as a PC. Aliri, what would you be doing for your year-end fellowship phase? First of all, where are you spending your fellowship phase? Are you spending it at home or abroad?
On the Dwarven Road.
All right. You're going with Narvi to look after the Old Dwarf Road. Narvi, I assume that's what you're also doing with your year-end fellowship phase?
Yes.
All right. Idis, or not Idis, I guess Rani, what are you doing for your year-end fellowship phase?
I believe there was talk of. I think she's going to be home, probably talking with Bjorn, and I don't remember what it's called. One moment.
Was it something with beasts? Befriend beasts?
That's
What was that?
There are lots of beasts near the Old Dwarven Road.
I think I wanted to
Befriend the
Not
beasts.
Not the kinds you make friends with.
Alright,
Yeah.
so under befriend the beasts in Bjorn's house, there's the option to learn speech of beasts. Is that something Rainy could do?
Character learns to speak the secret tongue of one sort of animal. Choose from horses, dogs, bears, wolves, birds, or burrowing beasts. Interpreting the
That's so
speech of beast
cool.
requires a riddle or song test. What sort of animal, what sort of secret tongue of beast would you like to learn?
Well, I'm thinking. Dog could be
It's true.
complicated if.
I feel like if you
If
could actually
Warsong
talk to
has a
Warsong's dog and she couldn't, that'd be sort of awesome.
Yeah, that would be
Yes.
cool.
So it was dogs, horses. What else?
Looks like dogs,
Bears.
dogs, horses, bears, wolves, birds, or burrowing beasts.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with birds.
Okay. You spend time as one of Bjorn's runners. You have access to him that other people don't, and so you spend the winter at the house of Bjorn, running errands for him. And when you're not doing that, he teaches you the secret tongues of the birds. All right, Narvi.
That's a lore.
We've
It's a
done
lore
you.
riddle roll.
It's a riddle or song test to understand the speech of the beasts. So, all right, Duvaniel, what are you doing for your year-end fellowship phase?
I believe she is going to be trying to clear its shadow again.
All right, give me a song or craft roll.
Song roll. Here we go.
All right,
Yay!
you clear 2 shadow. Ezreal, the Elf Lord of Imladris. What are you doing for your where are you spending your year-end fellowship phase, and what are you doing?
I think Borlad and I will continue in Thranduil's Hall.
Okay.
Perhaps is that where you're spending your phase there, Ben?
Duvaniel?
Thranduil's Hall? No. I don't know. I think probably.
Well, are you spending it at home or abroad, Duvaniel? And if abroad, where? I mean, if you're spending it at home, then, I mean, at home just means anywhere in the Woodland Realm. So there's a chance that you might run into Edrehill.
I was gonna say. I think I'll probably spend it with my master.
Okay, with Ormel the Lampmaker. That's actually what I sort of expected. So
Yeah.
Ormel the Lampmaker is the greatest craftsman among the Wood Elves. He once trained with Celebrimbor, studied under Celebrimbor. So,
And
so it's
trained Lumarin.
yeah, and also taught Lumarin. So it might be it would be quite possible that yeah, it's quite possible, Edrehill, that you would probably meet with Ormel at some point, as Ormel is currently deeply involved in the lore of the lamps, trying to find out what he can. for the coming year. So,
Well then, give me one quick second, and I may change what I was planning on
Okay.
doing.
all right. And Ben, you might just look at like the Woodland Realm Fellowship phase options for the future, because there are special things you can do at home that might help with your Hope Shadow issue. So,
Yeah, for reals.
yeah.
Looking at. I'm sorry. What was the area?
Northern Mirkwood or the Woodland Realm.
Okay.
It's you just. I mean, there's things like there's the party circle. It's not called the party circle, but it's called the something clearing. The Great Clearing. Let's see here. There's visit the Sentinel Oak. Feast in the Great Clearing is what I was thinking of.
Where is that? I'm sorry.
It's not going to help you with what you want to do.
Okay.
I mean, you should look it up anyway, and like the Sentinel Oak and the other things. But yeah. All right.
Oh,
We
sorry.
got
Sorry.
20
Go
XP.
go ahead, Edgerhill. Yeah. I will give it out XP for this session at the end of the night. But if you want to
Okay.
spend XP to level up on your fellowship phase, you can do that as usual.
But
What's that?
okay. Well, okay, but we can't use whatever we'll get from this session right now.
No, because the session's not over.
Okay.
So,
I will search for answers.
all right. What are you searching for answers on?
I will go speak with the lamp maker.
Okay.
I'm trying to find out more about the lamp. Elrond said that there was a chance that it came from Eregion, and if that is the case, that is kind of what I would like to discover.
All right. Give me a. Now I have Sophie's other song stuck in my head.
33 of Darkening of Mirkwood.
Yep. All right. Give me a. Give me a lore roll.
All right.
And I would say you have an applicable lore specialty. I assume that because you have every lore specialty there is, basically. So, Elven lore. You have Elven lore, right?
I have Rhymes of Lore.
You only have Rhymes of Lore?
You only have Rhymes of Lore.
But you have a bunch of other lore specialties.
I do not.
Okay, well then just give me a straight lore roll.
That's Duvanio.
Oh, that's Duvanio that has all that stuff. All right. Well, that's a great success. All right, roll a d12. Well, okay.
You know more than there is to know.
First of all, you gain 1 experience point immediately.
Score.
The making of the shining crystals at the heart of the 2 lamps of Amon Lanc is lost to mystery. The making of the crystals themselves were not made by Celebrimbor. They were made perhaps by Feanor himself in the deeps of time, or at least by some student of his capable of creating something of that magnitude. The crystals were made not quite like the Silmarils, but certainly an imitation of the Silmarils as tributes to the light of the 2 trees of Valinor, as they shone in the first days of the world, bright and hopeful and unmarred. Many, many millennia later, Celebrimbor of Holland, the grandson of Feanor, wrought the crystals into 2 lamps with the help of, wrought the crystals into 2 lamps. After the destruction of Eregion by the armies of Sauron, the lamps were carried to Orophyr, the king of the elves of Mirkwood, where he and taken over the Misty Mountains to Amen-Lank, where they were hung as a place of honor above his gates. And there the lamps hung for more than 3,000 years until the shadow descended upon the forest. Thranduil decided to abandon the naked hill of Amen-Lank and move his capital north. And when that happened, the lamps were escorted by a company of picked elven warriors, as being one of the great treasures of the realm. But along the way, they were ambushed by countless spiders, and all of the warriors were slain. The lamps were lost, and Thranduil assumed that they were both destroyed by the great spiders, since, of course, the children of Ungoliant consume gems and jewels for their light. But something, and you're not sure what, seems to have saved the lamps from the spiders, and they found themselves, and they came into the possession of the necromancer, who you know to be your enemy and the enemy of the elves, Sauron. Sauron locked them away in Dol Guldur, perhaps intending to corrupt them or use them maybe as a bargaining chip against the elves. You're not sure. There's a story among the woodmen that when Gandalf the Grey entered Dol Guldur 900 years ago, he found one of the lamps still intact. And recognizing its power, he brought it out of the dungeons with him and entrusted it to the young woodman Balthi, who had guided him through the forest. Since then, for 50 generations, the lamp has hung from the rafters of the great house of the Woodman Town, and only the wizards and a few descendants of Balthi up to this point have known about its origins. Ormal had, even Ormal, the lamp maker, who had been involved in the early history of the lamps, did not know that these were in fact the lamps which Celebrimbor forged. You've also heard from Ormal that one of the lights was one of the lamps was destroyed by the werewolf of Mirkwood, but the full story of that you have yet to uncover. All right. That is Edrihil's year-end fellowship phase, and given the fact that you are spending time with Ormal, researching the history of the Fëanorian lamps, you would definitely have met Duvaniel during this time.
All right.
All right. Well, nearly done. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there with me. Narvi and Illyri, Narvi, you turn your focus, leaving your love in Lake Town. You turn your focus again to the Old Dwarven Road, of which you are ostensibly the warden. And what you find is that indeed, many of the old fortresses and watchtowers along the road have fallen into ruin, and there are their foundation stones missing. When you question the men of Tyrant's Hill about this, however, they profess to know nothing of it and continue on with their work of restoring the old road. All right. The werewolf of Mirkwood is seen during the year crossing the Dusky River. It attacks homesteads near Woodland Hall until several stout warriors with burning brands, led by Mogdrid, are able to drive it back. Still, the monster lurks again in the woods, and at least 3 times during the winter comes out when the snow is thick on the trees above and kills. things are heating up between the Beornings and the Viglandings, and this finally reaches climax during in a battle near the forest gate. The Beornings have aid from the Beornings have aid from the Thranduil sends elves to Beorn's aid, and the Viglandings are defeated. Some of the Viglandings retreat into Mirkwood while the rest flee north. Beorn and his men pursue, but their chase is interrupted by a counterattack from a host of goblins and trolls who had lurked in the shadow of the trees, and Vigland is able to escape. There are distant rumors of evil things stirring in the narrows of the Grey Mountains again, of orcs and trolls and other monsters more hideous gathering in the marshes outside of Lake Town. And all around, the world seems to be darkening. And as the final thing we will do tonight, we will do our Weal and Woe rolls. So we will begin with you, Narvi. Narvi, roll a d12.
All right.
Nice.
Well, okay then. Narvi.
Whoa.
Get back on the road again. Feel that.
You spend most of the year's end on the Old Dwarven Road, but in the winter of the year, as you are kind of despairing and things seem, it's snowy, there's cold, or it's cold and there's snow. That's what I was trying to say. It's cold and there's snow, and you and Illyria are not having very much luck with the Men of Tyrant's Hill. Kona shows up, along with a number of dwarves of the Lonely Mountain. And she says, "We are here to give the Road Warden what aid and comfort we can." And she presents you with something. It is a fine, glittering ring of silver enmeshed with gold. And she says, "This is the finest thing that I have ever crafted. And it is the finest thing that I will ever craft again. It is a ring, and there is a virtue of it, of finding and of losing. And it is in fact a ring. If you wear it on your left hand, it has a virtue of losing, which makes it easier for you to hide things which you do not want to be found. And if you wear it on your right hand, it has a virtue of finding, which makes it easier to find things which have been hidden. It is a magical item, and I will send you the stats for it later.
Harvey has all the magical things.
He does.
Also, our oldest
I
character
roll.
now.
Illyri, give me a d12 roll.
Yeah.
She frozen.
Illyri, give me a d12 roll. Can you hear me? Illyri.
I can see her and she's moving,
Yeah.
but
See
she's
her
not
and she's
talking.
not.
Hello? All right, well, we'll come back to her. Edrahil, give me a d12 roll.
Yeah.
9.
Solid, solid. All right.
I stick. Hi. Dang it! I got two.
Oh, cool. We'll come back to you. Um, Edrihill. While staying with Ormel the Lampmaker, you receive an invitation.
Okay.
We'll come back to you,
Was
Amanda.
that it? I
Yeah.
receive an invitation.
No. This is Edrihill. We'll come back to you. Because you froze up for a minute and we weren't sure where you were. So we'll come back to you. Edrihill, while you were staying with Ormel, you receive an invitation to pass southward, down the Anduin, and into the Golden Wood.
What?
Dwymordine, the Northmen call it, but you know it as Lothlorien, guarded by the power of the Lady Galadriel, and ruled over by Celeborn, Lord of the Galathrim, and wisest of the Eldar in Middle-earth. One presumes because he married Galadriel.
No bias there.
Yeah. You stand upon the hill of Caras Galathon, surrounded by Eleanor Nifredel at the rising of the sun, in the heart of Elvendom in Middle-earth, and your heart is glad. You gain a point of hope.
Nice.
What if I'm already at max hope?
Your heart is glad.
I'm totally fine with my heart being glad.
Yeah, that's still a really freaking big deal. All right.
No, it is.
You have entered the hidden wood. Aliri, you are looking forward to a relaxing winter of working on this really awful dwarven road with Narvi. And in the middle of it, yes, thanks, Jonathan.
Right.
Yes, and there's a place that sells the best blueberry pasties. Anyway, you are looking forward to a relaxing, not so relaxing winter of working on the road when you receive an unexpected message from Saruman the White. And in the middle of winter, together with some of his other servants, you have been asked to head to the Vales of Anduin, and particularly the area around the Gladden Fields, to search for something. You do not know what it is.
It keeps freezing.
You do not know what it is you are searching for.
Okay, in the middle of winter. Okay.
I'll just put that there for you.
That's good.
All right. War Song. Give me a D12 roll.
Do we ever get to know her real name, or it's just Secret Agent Warsong for the rest of the
If she
time?
tells you, you'll know.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm guessing Devania will not be.
Name. You always called her Birdsong. You never knew her real name.
Roll a D12.
I'm doing it. I don't know why it's wanting to. There we go. Hey!
Yeah.
Way better than Asfrid's roll last time.
All right. War Song. A particularly promising batch of pups is born at Sunstead during the winter, and you spend the winter raising them by hand. Now, this is a big deal for War Song because this is the first time that your father, Grimbjorn, has allowed you to have the governance of a whole litter, and you take kind of a very simple joy in raising and training the beasts. And of course, Sigarun is also enjoying himself, looking after the little puppies and wrestling with them. And when spring comes, you find yourself rested and enheartened For the following year, you will add 1 additional point to the fellowship pool.
Well, I guess that makes up for Illyri.
Yep. Ranny, give me a d12 roll.
Dang.
Ranny.
Mm-hmm. Are they Sigaroon's puppies?
Yes, are they Sigaroon's puppies?
I can hear you.
Are they Sigaroon's puppies?
Can you hear me?
Gonna roll percentile.
I can hear you, Narvi.
Can y'all not hear me?
High or
hear
low,
you.
Sophie?
Can't.
High or low, Sophie?
Hi.
They are not.
Oh well.
All right. Ranny, the loss of the lamp of Balthi has affected the woodmen most of all, but it seems that your people did not appreciate just how much defense it afforded to the Bjornings as well. In the winter, your village is forced to beat off the attacks of wild wolves and hungry goblins raging far out of the eaves of the forest. Between that and the toll that is taken on your people by the feud with the Viglandings, it is a harsh and hungry winter. You add no points to the fellowship pool this adventuring phase. Which really sucks because you have those twice-baked honey cakes.
So even the twice baked honey cakes points?
You
So
add
the
no points
going to add.
to...
Now she adds 0.
Right.
So we're down 3. Up
No.
1.
Down 3, up 1. Duvaniel, give me a d12 roll.
All right, here we go.
Hey!
It's so swingy tonight.
For one phase.
All right. Duvaniel, pleased with your efforts at redemption, and perhaps by some foresight, knowing that the road ahead of you will be dark, Thranduil invites you back to his halls for healing and respite. And when the winter ends, he equips you again. His armors equip you this time not just for travel, but for war. And you can add the attribute keen to one weapon of your choice.
What? That's awesome.
All right. Our adventure will begin again in 2 weeks in the spring of the year.
Wow.
Our adventure will begin again in 2 weeks in the spring of the year 2961. I'm getting Amanda's commentary like 10 seconds after it happens, and it's
We all
disorienting.
are.
Yeah. Your adventures will begin again in the spring of the year 2961 as Radagast the Brown summons each of you to...
I know.
As sorry, it's killing me. As Radagast the Brown summons each of you to Rosgable, because each of you have had or will have some part to play in the end of the story of the Lamp of Balthi. You're each summoned in early spring to Rosgable for a council where the doom of the woodman may be decided. And that is where we will pick up in 2 weeks. Guys, thanks for sticking with me. I know we had a whole lot of stuff to cram in to a single session tonight, and I know that JM, thank you especially for being so long-suffering.
Nothing to apologize for. This was awesome.